sorry to Zach, but I had to go. I told my mechanic, Rooster, I said, I want to win so freaking bad. And
first and foremost, if you're pissed because of the spoiler with the obvious Roczen winning the race, well, I don't really care. I'm posting this on a Wednesday, and the race was Saturday. I'm sorry you didn't get to watch it. Don't watch my videos. I'm so incredibly pumped for K-Rock. I remember the first time I met this kid, he was 16 years old. He was coming over for the Motocross of Nations. I was actually injured, so I couldn't ride with him here in Colorado. But I was just blown away at how fast he was. I actually remember he had this Ortema neck brace on, which, anyway, I'm definitely digressing. I'm just super happy for him and his family. Him and I, and I'm honestly jealous, him and I got injured about the same time, and God, I couldn't take it anymore, and look what he's been able to accomplish. A little over 1,000 days since his last Supercross win. That's nuts. I'm an even bigger fan now, so I sort of want him to win the championship. I don't know. What do you guys think? Dude qualified 4th, pretty much almost a second and a half, well, about a second, a little over a second off of AC's time, and he got the job done in the main event. Roczen was the only guy that I saw consistently go quad, triple every lap, and he definitely made a statement. The dude was feeling it. So in this episode, I'm just going to be all over the place. I think Ricky got it wrong when Bogle went down Heat 2 winning. He's set up to double, and he's in race mode, so he's going to be on the gas as soon as humanly possible. But he didn't know that he was going to essentially wheel tap the second obstacle, kicking him sideways, getting his body weight all off, and then it was all over for him. If you were to put down how fast they are, how good their fitness is, and just lay it out, statistically speaking, just using mathematics, you could go, oh, this guy should win every time. But there's that one variable as far as how the day went, how your mental game, your racecraft per se is, and how much that affects your forward momentum for the night. Bogle went on to the main event to finish 15th. Yeah, you could say his LCQ, but I think things like this, you're out front, you're finally getting a break, and then boom, you get something that says, I can't do it anymore. And us as riders, sometimes we think that that's our fault. There's certain things that we can't control, but you always sort of think negatively of, man, what could I have done differently to make this happen? And that's why you need to have a sports psychologist coach with you 24/7. Just using another example is when Osborne came back on AC. AC, I felt he was riding sort of out of control all weekend long. You know, I constantly saw him overjump and stuff, making crashes. He was arguably the fastest guy on the track, but this move right here ruined his forward momentum, and he wasn't pushing forward, didn't end up winning the race. Argue with me. Tell me, Johnny, you're full of... I don't believe you. That's not what happened. I want to know. And so in this episode, I'm literally all over the place. This is press day. This is the day before. If you guys ever go to one of these races, hopefully you can show up the day before and watch this, because these guys are amazing top-tier athletes, but the skill level isn't astronomically better than the privateers. They take the first 5-10 minutes of this press day, which they get around 20 minutes or so, and they roll around. They end up doing the triples, but it takes them a while. There's real no pressure. They can pull off the side of the track. They can click this, that, and get the bike feeling good. So then when time qualifying comes around, they're ready to shoot their gun. And the privateers, that's why they have a different practice for them, just because of the sheer amount of riders, but also because they look like this. They look like they're out of their league because they're trying to figure out the track. And granted, it does take them a little bit longer to figure out the track. And it makes perfect sense because they don't get as much time on the track.
In the media day yesterday, he was one of the 450 riders allocated to be on track for that exercise. And I spoke to his team manager, Eric Kehoe, this morning. I said, Ken was coming in. It seemed like excessive times coming off track and making adjustments. And he said, well, he just was not happy with how the bike performed last weekend in Anaheim. He wanted to play and treat it like a test session, an experiment with different settings here and there on his suspension, just to make sure it felt good. And we utilized that session in a very heads-up way.
And then just what do you think about all the close racing this weekend? It seemed pretty sketchy, especially with this Jet Lawrence. I know he's only 16, but to me it sort of seemed like he caused that. And poor Koja didn't make the main. He was in a transfer spot, and last weekend got knocked out by Howell. And I don't know if his bike was broken or if he was broken, but he wasn't able to race the main event. So it really sucks for him. The factory guys, they seem like they get away with a lot. Aaron Plessinger, this was his crash back in Daytona of 2019. He finished 10th. If he doesn't start doing better, I think they're going to find a new rider on Yamaha. Maybe not this year, but definitely next year. Again, that toilet analogy. This sport sucks. There's always somebody that's willing to come up and take your spot. And it seems as if I'm very repetitive and I'm all over the place this episode. So in closing, just last little bit about the purse. So Feld Motorsports puts up something like $116, $120, something close to that, $1,000 for all the riders. And, it gets divvied up all the way down to 40th place in both classes. So they pay 80 riders. But perhaps maybe we need to do some sort of crowdfunding like they do in esports. If you don't know what esports is, it's electronic video games. I think that's what it is. I just learned this week is somebody told me there's this big Dota 2 competition that they raised $35 million for the prize pool, and it was all crowdfunded by the players. The players bought an in-game item, and then 25% of those proceeds went to the players, and they ended up raising $35 million, which is just ridiculous. It makes you think like, hey, no, I'm going to just let my kids play Fortnite all day long and not ride motorcycles. It's a thought. Maybe we can do something.